Hello, this is Michael Eure, and I'd like to invite you to the Michael Eure Show, featuring student hosts and very special guests talking about a variety of interesting topics. You can find us on the Eagle Stream YouTube channel. Good afternoon and welcome to the Michael Eure Show. Today we're very excited to be working with Career Services at Wake Tech in the celebration of National Career Development Month. And we have some very special guests, and I'm going to ask you all to briefly introduce yourself. And we'll start with Jerry, then we'll go to Sonia, and then we'll go to Chris. This is quick. Thank you.
My name is Jerry Greene. I'm a cybersecurity major here at Wake Tech, and I've been working alongside Michael Eure here in these Eagle Streams.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sonia Hayes. I am a career coach with Wake Tech's Career Services.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today. Name is Chris Oriandon Aja, department head for the engineering department here at Wake Tech.
All right, and now we're going to ask Sarah to move us to the side, and we're going to go through the Student Success Coach link. And I just want to today get to let the audience know, particularly the students, that we want you to stop right here at resources, because this is where we really direct students to these offices. And so today, I'm gonna ask Sarah if you could just click on career and employment resources. And what it does, and then it'll come up to their page, but we wanna go to schedule an online appointment. This is just a sample. And this is what I think is quite important, that people know that this particular office can help them determine a major or program of study. This is a real function of this office, and we send students there for that all the time. Clarify a career goal, they help with networking, job search, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted y'all to see, and particularly students that have success coaches, that link is important, not just because of the success coaches, but the other areas you can get to from that. So I'm finished, Sarah. So thank you so much. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jerry and let him start with some questions.
All right, I got a question from the both Ms. Hayes and Dr. Chris. I'm sorry. All right, please can you give us a little bit more details about yourself and what are the things you enjoy and how did you get to the Raleigh-Durham area?
Over to you, Sonia.
Great question, for sure, Jerry. Of course, again, I am a career coach with Wake Tech's Career Services. In my department, I'll start there. We are the department that assists you with developing the career plan. We help you discover that career pathway. So this is a very special month for us, with it being National Career Development Month, because the career development process is lifelong. So we focus on life and learning and work over the course of your lifespan. We all are on a journey of career development. So, of course, we help students discover those career choices, and we also help them really reflect on that career plan. We do it year round, but National Career Development Month is when we really zone in and focus on those things. We have tons of events, of course, that we'll be hosting throughout the month, and we'll share the link for those events a little bit later in the show. But to answer your questions, things that I enjoy, I've always been a person who's just enjoyed helping others. I've known that since probably the age of 4. I've always shared. I have a passion for people. I love supporting others. I've worked with people of all walks of life. I've worked with homeless population, at-risk youth. I've worked in higher education. I've worked in disability services. You can find me volunteering with the Special Olympics and many nonprofit organizations in the community. So that passion within me reflects in everything I do. I'm originally from the dirty South, as we say. I am from Albany, Georgia. So I'm sure you can hear my Southern drawl when I speak. So, of course, I had family. My sister lived in this area already. She had been here about 7 years or so. And I would come visit her often and said, you know what? I'm going to try the Raleigh-Durham area. Let me give this area a try. So that's how I ended up here.
Great. That was good, Sonia. So every time I hear about journeys and where people have been and where they are right now, I'm not even sure where to start with mine. But I like exactly what Sonia said about, just connecting to people and liking people. So I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna start with that. My journey kind of halfway started in Florida, where I was at University of Central Florida as a faculty. And that's where I actually made my connection with students. Prior to that, I was in the industry. Still, I'm in the industry, but as a consultant. But when I was at Florida, I was the advisor for the National Society of Black Engineers, NSBE. And that's where I made my most connection with students. I thought my teaching career was just going to be teaching at night and going back home until I had this advising position, and that really connected me to the students. I left Florida and then went to Missouri on the same path of helping out students, because that was actually my alma mater back in Principia College in Illinois, was where I went first as a student. It was a liberal institution, but they didn't have an engineering program, and they started, and it didn't start off right. So I was probably one of the guinea pigs that went through the program. So when opportunity came up to really channel the program forward, I saw that as an opportunity, and then went there, helped them to get on track, and then left there, headed down here to North Carolina for a couple of reasons. One is I felt like, so far as advanced or college university institutions go, I've done the big universities, I've done a small university, and my wife, who actually went to a community college, always brags about how great community colleges are going to be. And she said, if you're thinking about, your teaching career, you should definitely have community college on your resume. And I said, sure, what a great opportunity it will be for me to get a community college experience. And that's actually one of the reasons we came down here. Her work also transferred here. We came down to North Carolina for spring break very quickly, and we love the area. This is, of course, coming from Missouri. It makes North Carolina look very beautiful. So that was part of our plan here, and I'm very grateful to be part of Wake Tech's engineering program. It was just a perfect fit for me, and I'm hoping to continue on that same line with, helping students, trying to engage with students who are interested in engineering, and actually students on the whole. One of my interesting things that I'm actually doing right now on the same path of helping students is actually started a podcast that hopefully I'll get information to Michael to give to everyone. It's Let's Talk Ed with Professor Chris, with the goal of making sure that a student's college experience is an experience, or it becomes an experience and not a survival. So I think I've said enough right now. So Jerry, thanks for the question. Let's move right on.
I'm going to interject here to say, I've met you and we have been talking for quite a bit of time. And I'm really glad that you brought up NSBE because it's so very important. And I have been involved with that as well, and particularly the RTP chapter. And I know that they want to start a chapter at Wake Tech. So I'm hoping that our students will have access to those scholarships, those professional development opportunities. And of course, it's not just for Black students, it's for any student. It just has that in its name. So thank you. Your wife is an engineer too, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So you got all that money. So I'm going to stop and let Jerry continue.
I don't know about that.
All right. This next question is for Dr. Chris. Yeah. Although your department's been relocated to the Division of Applied Engineering and Technologies, can you describe as best as you can the degrees offered in your area, and what should students expect in terms of classes, transfer options, and employment opportunities in engineering or technology?
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start a little bit back from the transition period because the engineering, the transfer engineering program actually used to be with the math and science division. And it was a good fit. The reason was, when the engineering program, by the way, started here at Wake Tech, is still very young, as we're talking about 8-9 years ago since the program became official here at Wake Tech. They were trying to find a place for it, and they decided math and science would be the best place because the prerequisites for our program is within the math and sciences. So that's how it's been for the years since it started. But it's always been a discussion of giving our students the option or the different sides of engineering. Well, in the applied engineering technology area, usually students come in thinking, oh, I want to do engineering. and maybe what they really want to do is hands-on and applied engineering. So we've always had a discussion of helping students out know the difference between the engineering transfer program and applied engineering technology. The good thing about that is usually the applied engineering technology students, sometimes we get students that excel in that program, and then all of a sudden they change their mind. They want to be transfer students or they want to go to a 4-year college. So they send them over to our end, and we do the same. We actually have students who might have a little bit of a challenge with our program, and then we'll say, you know what, actually, this is what I wanted to do. So what are my options? So we've had this discussion back and forth as to, you know what, we should be probably working together. And so now we have this transition. We're all in the same division. The programs within the division now, by the way, since engineering moved into the applied engineering technology, now the new name for that unity is bioengineering, engineering, skills trade, and what am I missing here? The last T is the technology, the applied technology. So that is now the best, right? So we say the best program at Wake Tech right now is actually our program, BEST. And so what we're working on right now is students now can talk to advisors within the program, and we're able to offer them all the different options. We still have the engineering transfer program, which means students that are interested in transferring after 2 years to the NC State, to the A&T, the ECU. Those are all different options, and I will touch on that here in a second. But that is a transfer program. So far as the applied engineering technology goes, we have the bioengineering, and we have a whole lot of applied engineering technology. You can talk about the welding, we can talk about architectural, we can talk about the civil. So the best way, really, since there's a lot of them, is for students that are interested to just go on the website. Now, if you go on the website, we are all at the same place now, so you don't have to go jumping around looking at different places. But for the transfer program, which I had, I do want to kind of emphasize one of the challenges we have with our students that are interested in that program to transfer. Usually we get caught up with, oh, I want to go to NC State, right? And everybody wants to go to NC State, and the requirements are so high. And I stress this very, very importantly, is because we happen to be this close to NC State, but the programs NC State has, their competitors are A&T, ECU, especially A&T is way up there in terms of the programs they have. You talk about the mechanical engineering, which is one of the areas students want to go to in terms of going to NC State. It's very, very strong as well at A&T, right? So we have that, and we have ECU. Fortunately, Campbell is also part of the school that we work with, but it's a private school, right? So we have to talk about some expenses. But I do want to put that out there that if a student is interested in a transfer program, they should not be caught up in, this is the only option that I have.
All right. And I want to chime in. And if Sarah wants to, she can put your programs up and students can see them, but she can certainly put them in the chat. So this is your applied engineering and technologies. And she can scroll down and people can just see the different majors, I think.
Yeah.
But she's going to put this in the chat. Associate in engineering, that's you, applied engineering and design, and all of those. And I also want to emphasize, I went to visit the building J on the Northern Wake campus, and I knew this, but they had great big posters of the transfer options for those applied engineering majors, and I think that's important too. And the last thing I must say before we let Sarah before we let Sonia talk about a great giveaway, is that North Carolina A&T, North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, is the #1 public HBCU in the nation, and they are the #1 producer of African American engineers in the nation. So it is not at all a second-rate school. I think that people, like Chris said, they're very committed to NC State, but UNC Charlotte, A&T, East Carolina, all of these options are available. And once you get the degree, you're going to get the job and your career will move forward. So thank you, Sarah. And I'm turning to Sonia very quickly.
That was so much information that Dr. Chris has already provided just in that first question. But what I want to do at this time, of course, today we are looking at our career development. So I want to challenge all the students who are with us today to engage with us. You have Dr. Chris right here as a professional. So I want you all to use this opportunity to gain insights into the field, but use the chat box definitely to ask some questions because we have a cool giveaway for today as well. So definitely use this as an opportunity to start exploring careers and help you with that process of career development.
And I also would ask Sarah if she could put the Career Development Month activities in the chat. And students, you can use it to register for events throughout the month. All right, I'm sorry, Jerry. It's your chance.
All right. Next question for Dr. Chris. What advice would you give to someone who thinks they may be interested in a career in engineering or related fields, but they're unaware of the vast differences related to engineering and engineering technology?
Okay. So I do want to start off with the different opportunities, right? I think I'm at a point here in my life where sometimes when I tell students this, they think it's either too good to be true or they don't really trust what I'm saying. And the reason I'm saying this is, we talk about engineering, and unfortunately, the first thing people think about is the money aspect, right? It's like, oh, engineers make money, and so for that reason alone, I'm going to do what it takes, to do it so I can make that money. I'm not saying that you should not do that. I'm at a point in my life where I feel just like myself and students, you really need to find your passion and what it is that you want to do, because engineering is the last thing you want to be doing if you're not happy about doing it. It is stressful enough, right? So you have to bring in some type of joy in order to really enjoy what you're doing, and trust me, the payback will be great. So I say that as students are also picking professions, not only are they thinking engineering, but students also come into engineering and maybe their strong area is mechanical engineering or civil engineering. But because they know their friends or they've heard about computer engineers making more money, then they think that is probably where I should be going. No, that is not where you're going to go. Pick your lane, pick your track, because here's the thing that people also forget. I'll use civil engineering as an example, which since that's my area. In civil engineering, and my wife is an electrical engineer, so very, very great examples. In civil engineering, for example, we are the very, very bottom so far as starting pay goes. But don't let that fool you. All right, very clearly. Civil engineering, you could go and Google right now, entry-level pay is probably going to be about 50,000. Everything else, all the other engineers, they'll probably start at 55, 60, right? But here is the thing with civil engineering. We are also one of the only engineering profession that requires professional license, which means in our field, you could track up very quickly and also at a point become a project manager because you do have your license. And now let's talk about who is making money at this point here, right? My wife is an electrical engineer, and they start off very, very strong, and they stay there for a very, 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 very long time while we progress through. So usually I like to educate students on this here as an awareness, also to kind of emphasize the fact that pick your passion. Don't let the money be the ultimate goal. Students have also asked me, well, you're doing engineering, how did you decide to be here? How did you decide to do this teaching thing, right? And of course, the reason they're asking that question is, again, money. And I say, you will be surprised how much money some professors in research make. Some will probably make more than engineers make as well. So don't let money be the defining factor, all right? Pick your passion, and everything else that you do it very well, and it will pay. That being said, when students come into engineering, now we're talking about engineering versus applied engineering. There are some that love to do engineering, would like to do engineering, and transfer to eventually get their engineering degree. However, math and physics are probably one of the big catches, right? Is okay, and you get students saying, I really want to do engineering, I didn't realize how to do this much math. Okay, so this is where the applied engineering comes in, because if your math is not strong enough, but you're very good hands-on putting things together, there is still a place for you. Okay. I went through the process of becoming an engineer, and my parents still today, my dad rest in peace, but my mom is still alive. And if anything breaks down in our household, who does she call? Me. Forgetting that I was a transfer engineering student. I went that path, and I don't know how to fix a VCR. Jerry, do you know what a VCR is? All right. So I always use this example because that is one track that students could go into. Actually, one of my cousins who went through a technical route, he's the fixer. He's the one that does everything. And now I wish I actually had some of that knowledge. So I value both areas. One person is not better than the other. The applied engineering group gets certifications as well, and they become project managers in their own field. And let's not talk about how much money they are making in that area as well. All right. So for students, in terms of trying to decide, usually I try to rule out the whole money thing. Come talk to me. Let's first find your passion and put you on the right track.
All right. We have a question in the chat, and we're going to do that. Go ahead, Jerry. It's from Lexi True.
Lexi True says, hello all. Can you give a few practical examples of the differences between an engineering career and an applied engineering/technology career?
Perfect. Okay. So I think I alluded to that a little bit. Advantages. Let me start with advantages on both ends. When you finish, let's say you want to transfer, you go to your 4 years institution, you get your degree. When you go that route, usually, yes, you're working with a big company that's already established, right? So they're going to pay you what they want to pay you. You're going to go through the process. They'll give you your raises, and you're going to keep going in that direction. That's great. Okay. It gets to a point where sometimes you're thinking about independency. You're thinking about, I want to do stuff for myself. That is the downside of the track that I went through and most engineers will go through, because it's very, very challenging on that track to start something on your own. If you go to applied engineering technology, your chances of being independent or starting something on your own is much, much greater, because you're probably going to be working with a company that is looking for apprenticeship, really. They just want to train you because they're also not big enough. We're talking about people with welding experience, people with carpentry experience, people that could do fixed cars, right? People want you to be on your own in that area. You can diversify and do that. That is one of the big advantages. And again, people think, oh, just by going to a foreign institution and getting your engineering degree, you're all set. No, you're not all set. You're still working for someone. They both have the advantages and disadvantages. So that is one of the key examples. Is you go to applied engineering technology area, you actually get your certifications, you get to have your own business, right? And that is, to me, at some point, that is very, very important. That is key. You get to control your own money, your own time, and everything else that comes with it.
I'm always chiming in.
Yes, please do.
But I have a lot of students that think they want to be computer science majors, for example, or computer engineering. But when they learn about our associate of applied science degrees in IT, that's really where they want to be, for example. And I had a student before the pandemic, they graduated in cybersecurity. They started off making 60,000 plus. And the company they're working for was paying for them to go to a 4-year school. And I think the big misconception is the only way you can transfer is to be in particular programs. And I think we have to do a better job as a school to emphasize many of the associate of applied science degrees do transfer. And the other good thing is after 2 years, you could be making money. And if you really want to make money and you need to make money quickly, maybe there should be a lot more consideration to those tracks.
Right. Michael, you could have said it any better. And, let's go back again to, it's very, very important. And I'm actually happy Sonia is here as well, career services, because that is one of our biggest challenges, right? We want students to come in and say, okay, this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do. How can we help you do what you want to do. Career Services has a program that can help you determine that, right? They could test your math skills, they could test your English skills to kind of see where you fit, especially if you want to go into the engineering technical field areas. I think it's great. And I do want to, this is where, I put in a plug for Wake Tech and the other community colleges that actually have this option. Because most of the institutions that I've been in, believe it or not, for our engineering students who find out, you know what, this is not what I want to do, guess what their options are? Fortunately, we joke about this here. When I was at the University of Central Florida, all three engineering buildings stood there, and the next building next to it was a business building. Whether it was by design, I don't know, but when our students decide they cannot do engineering, where do they end up? In business. And nothing against business, because I cannot do any accounting, so I commend them for going in there. There is not that much option here at Wake Tech, but most of those engineering students, by the way, if there was that option of doing something like an applied engineering, they will probably go there as well, because these are students who will tell you, I could take anything apart and I could put it together, right? How many times have we had that? I could fix anything in my house when it breaks down, right? So these are people that are very good and will excel in applied engineering programs. So here's an option for them here at Wake Tech.
Okay. I guess now we're going to ask Sonia to chime in a little bit about the things that you've heard Chris say and what you encounter in career services.
Dr. Chris, you were right on it, where sometimes when students are in a situation where they've discovered that engineering might not be exactly what they thought it would be, they're really quick to jump to a major that they're not really sure about. They don't have all the information on. So this is where I want to put emphasis on the fact that in career services, we can really support you in developing a plan that's tailored to you. So when we think about our career plan, this isn't just some cookie cutter. We really get to know who you are by measuring your work interests. We measure your skills. We measure your work values. We talk about those things that are a part of who you are as a unique person so that we can help you assess what is the next track. Or you've discovered that engineering is exactly what you want. So we need to explore the different areas of engineering. Engineering is a very broad field, as Dr. Chris has already shared. You can go from civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. There are so many different options out there that you want to allow us to help you discover the path that's best for you. And Dr. Chris has already shared that he doesn't mind assisting you as well. So we may need to tag on some informational interviews where they learn about those paths by hearing from professionals such as yourself so they can really discover which path is best for them. So I definitely want to encourage you before you go over to the business building, as Dr. Chris has said, happens often. You want to stop by Career Services. We have our one-on-one appointments. We have our Career Lens Labs. You can meet with us virtual. You can meet with us in person. So you definitely have the option. So take advantage of the support.
Okay. I think we can go to the side and take another little break, and then we'll come back. And Sarah, if you can do the last link that you were sent from the mixer, and we'll just do a quick little entertainment break, because I know some of you have to leave at 12:30, but we're going to continue as though this is a class and stay until 12:50. Thank you, Sarah. Yes. We're giving you from the African American Latino Mixer, which was held June the 30th, but the Michael Eure Show worked with student activities, and I have really enjoyed this. So this is a young lady from Venezuela. All right, thank you, Sarah. It's always good to get a little entertainment break. So we're going to continue with some questions. Jerry, do we have any or not?
We do have a question about. I think you can say this for both Dr. Chris and Miss Sonia Hayes. How can students or other interested individuals get in touch with each of you? We can start with
Sonia, you go ahead.
Well, of course, as my email address is right there for you. So you can definitely reach out to me through email. You have my email address there. So you can send me an email. We can talk about the plan. I, of course, can share with you how to schedule appointments. So I'm looking forward to hearing from each of you. And of course, today removes any barriers there. So now you know career services, you know what we do. You can definitely reach out to me. And also to schedule an appointment with us, if you go to careers.waketech.edu, you can schedule an appointment there.
And for myself, that's my email address on there. You can email me with your questions. We also have, again, a lot of information on our website that you can go to for our engineering students specifically. And this is what we use for the engineering students that are already part of our program. Should have given this to Sarah, but it's STEM, STEM at waketech.edu. Not to be confused with the STEM Center. This is just STEM at waketech.edu. If you send an email to that link, one of our faculty members, there it is, one of our faculty members will get back to you and schedule an advising as well. So those are the two ways. And if you want to talk to me, even when you use this email address, just specify, just say in the email, I need to talk to Dr. Chris, and the faculty member will let me know.
All right, thank you. And we also have another question in the chat.
Lexi True says, is it possible, profitable, meaningful to get an engineering degree now and then later decide to branch out and to apply into an applied technology career?
Okay, so that sounds just like me. So now that I'm actually part of the applied engineering technology, I'm looking at all these fancy programs. They have the architecture, and I'm actually going to use architecture as an example. Different things that they do, interior decoration. We're paying people to come to a house to give us ideas. I'm like, I could be creative. I can learn how to do this. But yes, you could do that. Remember, when we're talking about the differences and the passion, again, ultimately it comes down to the passion, right? People will say the engineering path is most challenging, but if that's what you're passionate about, then go for it, right? Don't let anything get in your way. Go for it, do it. The applied engineering technology, you could always come back to it. There are certificate programs. That's one thing I like about the applied engineering programs as well. They are certificate programs. And even though I joke about it, I'm seriously thinking about looking at their architectural program to see if I could get some certification, because I'm at a point right now where, what else can I do on the side here, especially since I'm not fully involved with my structural engineering where I design bridges. And that's the other thing too. If you want to continue designing bridges or high rises like commercial office buildings or designing, this means you have to be part of a bigger company to do that. Independently, I cannot design any bridge. No government is going to give me any money for me to design a bridge. That's just the way it is, right? So, fortunately, right now, since I'm consulting, I don't do any major projects. I just do miscellaneous projects, which will be sign structures. Like there's a sign that needs to go up on a highway, little stuff like that. I could, check and design. So, and the answer to that question is yes, you can always get your degree if you want to get into the applied. You can always do that with some certifications later on.
All right. And Associate of Applied Science degree that has certifications in it. I think that people can get confused and not think these are degrees, and they are.
Right.
And also about architecture, I do want you to know my brother is an architectural engineer, and I think you met him, Dr. Chris, and he
Yes.
graduated from North Carolina A&T. But I think Sonia has a question for you.
Dr. Chris, as you were talking about designing bridges and some other
Yeah.
things you've done, of course, as an engineer, sometimes we hear about these cool projects. Do you mind sharing with us at least one project that you've done?
You absolutely. So before I even do that, I'm gonna share a very quick story. When I went back to Florida from industry, by the way, my transition was very slowly. I went there really out of default because I love my alma mater. UCF is where I got my graduate degree, and I still kept in touch with them because it also happened to be in Central Florida, where most of the engineering companies were. So usually when they're looking for interns, they go straight to UCF. Well, when I was working, actually, it was the second company that I was working for. We were looking for interns. And so I quickly got in touch with the civil engineering department at Florida, UCF, and I said, can you send somebody out here? We need some interns. And my boss, who actually happens to be from our rival school, which was a Gator, Florida University, said, no, we're going to get interns from Florida University and not Central Florida. So we had this big argument. Of course, I cannot argue with him. He's my boss. But I asked him very nicely, I said, why is it that we are this close to my alma mater, but when we're looking for interns, we cross all the way to Gainesville, which is 2 hours away from where we are to get interns? And he said, well, I'll be very honest with you. The program at UCF, when it comes to the CAD drawing, which is really the software that you're supposed to use for drawing or to do any design, they don't teach it that well. And I said, that was a good point. That was a constructive criticism, right? So I went straight to the dean of civil engineering and I said, hey, this is what we need to work on so our students can get an internship. Well, guess what? He told me to come help them do that. And so that's how I got into being an adjunct. And when I went there, Sonia, the question you asked is the same question the students asked me the first time I walked into the classroom. So tell us about the projects that you've been working on. At that point, I've been in that company for 5 years, and there was no project that I've worked on or designed that has been built. And people are surprised because it takes anywhere from 15 years from when a bridge is designed for it to be built to almost 20 years. So the ones in the company that had the pictures of bridges in their office, they've been there almost 40 years and probably have like 2 or 3 bridges in their office, and they make sure to blow it up and it fills out the whole office because that is how long it takes. Fortunately for me, actually 2 of the bridges that I worked on were actually built 2 years ago, and this is me being 12 years removed from the company. But one of those bridges actually is in Orlando, and it's one of the flyovers to the Orlando International Airport. So my in-laws are there. When the family and I go out there to visit, guess what I do? we have to drive over that bridge, so I can let them know that I was part of this design on that bridge. The other one is actually on the I-95 highway going to Miami, also down south. And that's because really that's kind of Florida is where I got my bridge design experience from. So 2 bridges are the only bridges out of my 15 plus years engineering that I can actually put my name on. But I hope this kind of gives you an idea. Yes, but those are the 2. Yep.
Okay, we have a few comments, and I'm going to ask a question, Chris, about your classroom instruction. Even though I know you're an administrator, but you teach every now and then.
Yes.
Did you teach at other schools as well? And what's the difference that you find between Wake Tech and some of those other schools?
Very good question. So I have taught at all 3 institutions that I've been at currently. I started off back in Florida, again, Central Florida. I was an adjunct there, and I started with the engineering mechanics class. Well, actually, let me backtrack. I told you how the dean got me into helping with the CAD drawing. So I started off helping the seniors that were getting ready to graduate with their senior design projects. That's actually how I started. So we were working on a project as part of their senior design project, and we will go through, this is what you have to do to build a bridge. This is what you have to do to build a building. So we go through all the process of doing that. So that's how I started. And then I got into, we really like you to teach. Have you really thought about teaching? And of course, I've had that comment many a times. When I was a graduate student, students will always come to me after I help them with their homework, have you thought about teaching? Could you do teaching? I'm like, why would I do teaching when I want to get an engineering degree to make all that money? You want me to come and teach, right? So little did I know that, fast forward 10 years prior to that, that is what I was going to be doing, and I love doing it. Like I said, I had a connection, with the students. So I went on to teach engineering mechanics, and then I taught some advanced civil engineering courses, structural analysis 1 and 2, mechanics of materials, and those were all courses within the civil engineering that I taught. When I transferred over to Illinois, I was still teaching those classes. I would teach the EGR 220, which is engineering mechanics, which is also the very first course all the engineering students are required to take, and which we use a lot in civil engineering, by the way, because those are the basics we use. So I taught that. And then here at Wake Tech, believe it or not, I wasn't planning on teaching here. Actually, when I applied for this position, I requested a teaching. And they said, well, you wait till you see how much work you have to do as a department head, and then you tell us if you still want to teach. Well, after my first semester, I go, no, thank you. With this, I'm not going to be able to do it. Well, last year, because of COVID, one of our faculty members wasn't able to teach her class. So I jumped into it to teach it. It was amazing. But to tell you how passionate I am about teaching, I couldn't do any work. I focused all my energy on my students and my class. And I would get emails from my boss saying, have we finished this assessment? Have we finished that? And I go, no, I am teaching. So obviously, I cannot do them both, but if I have to pick, I definitely will go back into the classroom anytime. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been very good. We're not ending it yet. I'm just finding it interesting. Now that and I'm working on a committee with you, that you're working with the Associate of Applied Science and Engineering, do you feel like there will be and I'm hoping that career services will be a big part of this, that we will be able to get students on the right track. And people that know me know I always say students don't do well because they're in the wrong major. And if we start them in the right major, and as I understand it, Sonia, you can correct, career services can work with students from the moment they're admitted. So why aren't we putting that step where it needs to be? And then the students will be in the right major from the beginning. The advisors wouldn't have to go back and try to fix something, because they'll come to them saying, I want to be in the AE program and really want to be in the AE transfer program. Or they'll say, I want to be in electronics engineering technology or electrical engineering technology, whichever it is. And they'll be in the right track. So do you think that that's going to be a big change? Now that they put them together, it seems like that's going to really help a lot of students.
Right. Absolutely. So, Michael, and I'm sure probably Sonia is also aware of this here, but we're having a lot of discussion on, how did our students get this far in their program and yet so lost in the program, right? That's kind of, I think, where we are, for lack of better terms, is, what we're facing currently with our students. So we decided we need to go back to the drawing board here and just see what will be some of the best practices and the best approaches. And, thanks to Michael, who, during this discussion, I was just suggesting, well, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. And he says, we already have the resources to do that. Career Services is the place. They actually do very well in placing students. So, we pulled in Career Services, we pulled in academic advising, and now we have all these units working together to make sure that when students come in, what are the best steps? We're talking about during orientation. We need to have maybe a very specialized orientation for the students that are interested, be it engineering, and I think very inclusive, even all the sciences, right? To start there, let's have an orientation to see where, the students' interested are during that process. Let's get Career Services in as well. What can you all do with those students? Academic advising is working on making sure they get a student's transcript, that they can very well interpret what they see on the transcript to see how best they can actually place the students as well. If we could get all our students that come in the very first semester to go talk to an advisor, to go to Career Services, to take our EGR 150 class, these are the three things that I think will put a student on track. I absolutely trust that if we can get these three things going very well, we should be good. So that's kind of where we are right now. I hope we keep going on that path.
Yeah. And I think it's great that we can do these innovative things. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just need to switch where people place things.
Yes.
Career Services needs to be in the beginning, not the end. People think, oh, I need a job, I'm gonna go to Career Services. But no, go to them from the beginning.
Right.
And many people need a job in the beginning. So I'm really a promoter of your department, Sonia, because you help so many students. And every student I have forwarded over there or walked over to Career Lens Lab, they are so thankful. Wish I knew it. So there's no reason, what some people say, but it's all on the website. But they don't know what they're looking for on the website. So it doesn't matter if it's there. We need to kind of let them know. And right now, as Sarah,
Sonia, no, I was going to say, Sonia, you see how Michael is promoting your program and not mine?
Well, Chris, your program was promoted in the title of the show, Careers in Engineering and Technology. And we're going to have you back.
And I definitely want to chime in here. We also serve prospective students. So we serve prospective, currently enrolled, and alumni. So we are able to work with students regardless of where they are in life, regardless of how long it's been since they've graduated. So they have that ongoing support. And we definitely appreciate the support and all of the referrals. But one thing that I was hearing when you were talking, Dr. Chris, is teamwork makes the dream work. We say it all the time. So just as you and Michael were both sharing, it takes all of us. We are the village. Of course, we always talk about reach and rally, but it's true. It takes the effort of each one of us for the student to really get on that right path, be able to follow that path to what's next for them,
Right.
and to really be able to then transition into the careers that they're wanting.
You couldn't have said it any better, Sonia. During our last meeting, I brought it up and I said, I'm very impressed. It's, in all my 2 years that I've been here, I know, you hear it all the time. If you need this, go to this person. If you need this, go to this person. But maybe I didn't know how, but this is the very first effort that I made outside my division to get different groups together. And it's worked amazing. Like I said, we got advising, we got Career Services, the AET group right now, we got representatives there as well. And it's just been one great team. I think our team should be asked to put the strategic plan together. I think we should be able to do that, right, Michael?
No, we're going to let you and Kevin and Laura and David Smith do all that. But I do enjoy being on it, and I think it's a good use of
Yes.
success coaches because we navigate students to the resources,
Right.
and students need different things. So I think working this orientation or information session in the beginning, we can have the students more prepared when they start the first day of class. But we've come to an end just about. I mean, we time goes by. So I'm gonna ask Sarah if you could do a couple of the comments, and then we're gonna have everybody make a final comment. Laura Bethay, how you doing?
Lord Bethay says, "Good afternoon, everyone. Happy National Career Development Month."
Thanks, Laura. Laura, way to represent career services, Sonia. Laura is, woo, go ahead. I'll let you do that one, Jerry.
She says, awareness of the various training programs is key. We have some solid options in North Carolina to consider.
Kevin Brown, Associate Vice President. Go ahead.
Great conversation. Thanks to all the panelists.
Laura Bethay again.
They also says, loving the dialogue. Thanks, Dr. Chris and Sonia.
Lexi True.
True says, agreed. Thank you to all the panelists.
Thank you. And thank all of you for participating. And I'm thinking now, Sonia, do you want to just kind of give out that special gift?
Yes, we definitely have a special gift, and I think I've already been able to identify who the winner is. Of
Okay.
course, that's right, Dr. Dr. Chris says it's me. So, of course, with it being National Career Development Month, we've definitely highlighted an amazing career, the career of engineering. But I want to, before I do the gift card giveaway, again, put emphasis on the different activities that we have this month to assist you with the career development process. Of course, we have more career panels, we have more sessions, we have virtual tours. So come join us. We're going to have a virtual tour of NASA and Amazon. And Amazon is actually tailored to the future engineer. So definitely want to invite you all to that. We also have our art and poetry contest that's going on throughout the month. And we also have an amazing podcast. One of our career coaches, Mr. Larry Tucker, does a podcast each month. And this month, he's going to be focusing on the future of work. So definitely join us throughout the month. You all know how to get in contact with me, but also know how to schedule an appointment. The team is waiting for you. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, we have a gift card giveaway. And Lexi True, the gift card goes to you. So we are proud of you. You chimed in quite a bit throughout this entire session. So we appreciate the engaging conversations and the questions. So if you will, Lexi, if you will for me, place my email address there so that way, Lexi, you'll know exactly how to reach out to me. So I want you to send me an email right now, Lexi, because I want to get this gift card to you. And it is a $50 gift card. It's all yours. So
And
congratulations.
congratulations. And make sure you
Congratulations.
use your Wake Tech email address, Lexi.
Yes, please use that.
All right. So thank you all. And next, the 17th, we'll have Careers in Science. And it's going to be the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. So volunteer opportunities and Lexi, lots of comments. So now we're going to close it out with some closing comments, and we're going to start with Jerry, then we're going to do Sonia, and then we're going to do Chris.
I don't have a lot to say, but I was going to refer back to what Dr. Chris said earlier. You want to have a passion, have an awareness of what you want to do in college, especially like regarding your major. Because I know when I first came to Wake Tech, I majored in engineering, but I switched to cybersecurity because I didn't like math, of course. But having like a passion for what you want to do, I think that's really important.
Well, Jerry, you just said the magic words right there. I don't know what else I can say. Having that passion is very important. Um, I'm definitely a believer in you want to enjoy what it is you're doing. You want to have that desire to go to work. It starts with identifying your interest. So definitely allow career services to support you. You have an amazing team as you see right here at Wake Tech. You've already heard Dr. Chris being willing to help guide you. You know that Michael Eure is an amazing success coach. So you have the village waiting for you. So allow us to support you.
And I'm going to close with this. And this is not because I'm at Wake Tech, but Wake Tech has the best options I have ever seen or encountered in all the institutions that I've been at. And I've been to a few. I actually had institutions that I had articulation agreements with back in Illinois, right? All the way down to North Dakota, all the way. So there, when I say institutions, I have seen and studied a lot. The opportunities and resources that Wake Tech provides is beyond any of those institutions. So please, please, please take advantage of those. And if nothing, please follow your passion. Thank you.
And this is the end of our show. And we'll see you again on the 17th for our next collaboration with Career Services and the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. Bye.